Hey everybody, welcome to Performance Anxiety. This show is all about easy love, but it's not what you think. Easy Love is a project by Justine Brown. We talk about how she got into music and her first band, Summer Twins. After 10 years in a band with her sister, she decided to branch out and write her own music, using some difficult personal experiences for inspiration. She also talks about struggling to stay organized, having demoitis, and something called Deer Goo. Easy Love's second album is out, and it's a great summer listen. Check it out on Bandcamp, Spotify, and all the other platforms. Follow Justine at Easy Love Music. Follow us at Performance ANX. Subscribe, rate, review, spread the word, and relax with a little easy love.
Hold on. Okay. Hi, this is Justine Brown of Easy Love, and you are listening to Performance Anxiety. Thank you for tuning in. You can check out my music. I have a new album coming out. The album is called Wander Feeler. I hope you enjoy. So awkward.
All right, so finally, thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Happy to be here.
So, I want to find out more about you because I got a chance to listen to the new album, and it is really cool.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
I'm really enjoying it.
And thank you for listening.
Oh, of course. I love finding new music. I love finding new artists. And when I find a new artist that I like a lot, it's the best. So I want to find out a little bit more about how you got into this whole business, I guess. Were you playing music at a young age? Was your family musically inclined? How did you get started?
Yeah, my dad has always played music throughout my life. He used to play in bluegrass bands and rockabilly bands, and he would play stand-up bass, and he's always played guitar. And so we I have a sister as well, and we sort of grew up listening to his records. He would play Beatles records for us, and also my mom put us in music lessons. So I took piano lessons when I was 5 for a few years, and I learned how to play by ear. And I think that sort of made it easy for me to learn other instruments.
Sure.
And when I was a teenager, my sister and her friend were really into the Ramones and the Donnas, and I was getting into that music too. I was into the Strokes, and sort of early 2000s rock pop music was really, I felt like it was really good.
Oh, yeah.
The scene around that time. So I kind of joined up with them because they wanted to start a group and they needed a drummer. So I just decided to start learning drums.
I mean, why not?
Even though I wasn't really passionate about it.
You'd already started with piano and guitar. Why not drums?
Yeah, I just said, okay, I'll be the drummer. I think it would be so cool. I thought it would be so cool to be in a band. So my dad bought me a drum set, an old beat up drum set, and his friend Matt showed me a couple of just basic rhythms.
Okay.
Just sort of like bare bones. And then I just kind of learned from there, and I just learned how to cover Ramones songs and Buzzcock songs. Oh, wow. And so that was basically how it started. We would play covers, the 3-piece, and then it turned into a band called the Scandels. And we were a band for a couple of years and would play around LA. We were maybe 17, around that age, and it was really fun. And then I just kept going and playing in bands for the last 15 years or so.
Okay.
And I think it took a while for me to soak everything in and be ready to write my own music, because it is really hard to put yourself out there in that way and show your vulnerability and have all of the resources to actually do that. So I learned a lot just from touring. I played in a band with my sister called Summer Twins for 10 years, and we did some tours and had the whole band experience, which was great, and I just learned so much. And then I had a pretty bad breakup.
Okay.
And was just, feeling everything and devastated, and I just picked up the guitar that year. I can't even remember what it was. It was maybe 6 years ago or somewhere around there.
Okay.
And that's when I started writing, because I was feeling so much. It was,
it affected you pretty deeply, it sounded like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it was like a combination of that and just being inspired by other musicians around me. I would tour with Burger Records Caravan to South by Southwest, and we saw a lot of amazing bands, people shredding on guitar and just kind of getting crazy with the crowd. And that was really inspiring to me. And I wanted to be up there playing guitar, and I wanted to start writing my own guitar solos and just doing that. I wanted to start. So that was also another part of it.
So you started playing, I want to go back to Summer Twins for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
You started touring. You actually ended up touring the world, going to places like Japan.
Mm-hmm.
How old were you when you guys were touring the world together?
It was maybe 5 years ago, maybe more, maybe 7 years. I honestly am really unaware of the years and what year I did what at this point.
Wow.
Somewhere around 5 or 6 years ago, I was probably in my early 20s.
Oh man.
And
touring the world.
Yeah. I mean, we went to Japan and we did some US tours. I was able to tour other places with this band Winter that I played in for a few years. We did some more countries. So I think Japan and no, we didn't do Mexico. I think Japan was the only really far, tour that we did with Summer Twins.
Well, the sound of Summer Twins is great. I mean, it's got this really cool mid-60s girl band type of sound, but a little grittier. And that kind of music historically goes over really well in Japan. I mean, were you guys really well received over there?
Yeah, I think it felt like there was some people that came out to see us, and that was really exciting to even imagine that there would be people in Japan listening to our music. I mean, it was really mind blowing. My sister, she's the main songwriter. She was the main songwriter of that band, and she received a video through email of this Japanese girl band covering one of her songs, and she was just crying and like, I can't believe this. And so yeah, we have a fan base out there, which is really awesome. And we worked with some clothing brands that brought us out there, and we shot photos for their catalog. There was this brand called Car Life, and they came out here to LA and Riverside, where we're from, and we did some photo shoots with them. And that was really great.
That's cool. Man.
Yeah. So that was like just a really great opportunity, and kind of opened my eyes to, I just never thought I would be doing something like that as a kid. I didn't really imagine myself playing in a band and being on stage. Japan. Yeah, I couldn't, I just never would have thought.
So your sister wrote most of the songs for Summer Twins.
She wrote the songs. I was the drummer, and we would record together. So between us, we would do most of the recording on our albums, and have some of our band members record their parts. And I started writing when I was in Summer Twins. I wrote 2 songs off of the last Summer Twins album called Limbo.
Right.
So that was sort of the beginning of Easy Love, but those were Summer Twins songs. We weren't really sure I wasn't really sure if I wanted to just start writing in Summer Twins.
Okay.
But I had so many songs, and we kind of just agreed it would be best to kind of split off.
Okay. So it was kind of a mutual thing?
Yeah. We both had our own songs that we wanted to write, and but I think at some point we'll probably have a reunion. We still have some fans.
I love that.
Yeah, I would love to do that.
Japan
I would
will
love
go crazy.
to go there. I would love to go there as soon as I can.
When you guys decided to go your own ways, it was an amicable thing then.
What does amicable mean?
It was friendly. It was friendly.
Yeah.
Mutual decision.
Yeah, totally. It totally was. Yeah, it was a mutual decision. No one was angry. We just felt like we may have been growing out of that band for a while. We wanted to take a break. We were just tired of playing the same songs, and we each wanted to start fresh. So it was.
So when you started writing your own music, was it difficult, or was it like the floodgates opened and you just started coming up with all kinds of ideas?
Yeah, it was not. It just kind of happened really easily. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't do it because when you try really hard to write a song and you don't feel inspired, I found in my experience, I tend to get frustrated and I just push it off to the side until I feel inspired again, or I'll come up with a new idea. But yeah, it was just, I was really heartbroken and had a lot to say about it. And it was just really healing for me to express myself in that way. And yeah, I actually don't know how I wrote those songs. I kind of don't remember, but I was living at my parents' house. So I had a lot of time alone to be in my room, just working on music. So
okay.
Kind of just happened. Yeah.
Is that so? I kind of get that feeling with some of the songs off your first album, like The Letter and I'll Be Fine, I'm Sorry. And it sounds, it's kind of an interesting dichotomy because the songs sound pretty happy, very, very light and very California sounding, but some of the lyrics are pretty intense and they definitely sound like there's some sadness there, especially with The Letter.
Yeah.
So that's
So it was a pretty intense situation. I actually, it's hard to admit, but I actually cheated on my boyfriend at the time. Uh-oh. And we were living together at the time. So I left and went back to my parents' house and just felt really guilty and like suffering. But I was also suffering because I knew he was suffering even more. It was just like this huge mess. And I was wanted to be honest about it. And so it felt really great to do that. And
I absolutely love that song. It is an absolutely beautiful song. And to be able to take something that's so personal and so, like you said, hard to admit and turn it into a song. That's not only just a song, but a beautiful song. I mean, the melodies and the chorus, absolutely stunning.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I still like the first album I put out. I still go back to it and I'm like, well, this is really good.
It's great. It's Slower Than You Think is a fantastic track. I mean, there's a lot of great stuff on it.
Oh,
And
thanks so much.
I was listening to that, and I was listening to the album that's coming out at the end of June, and I'm like, oh, this is really nice, light. The music is light, but the lyrics are very straightforward. Your writing style lyrically is really refreshing because you get to the point. It's very straightforward.
Yeah.
And I was looking on your Bandcamp page and I'm like, oh, this is so nice. You know, I got the new album. There's Easy Love. There's Dependence, Echo, Loop. Fucked up. What happened there?
Yeah, I know. I really like that song.
I do too.
You are one of the few people that get me in a way. Yeah, it was just like this it's basically about a fuck boy, like this guy who just kind of like calls me when he feels like it. And this was a while ago. I'm with someone now, but this was kind of like hanging on by a thread, like leaving me hanging by a thread, like text me like, hey, you want to hang out, like then don't hear back for another couple days, you know, like stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm sick of this.
And it's kind of funny because I wasn't expecting that after hearing the lightness and the California-ness of the album.
I know it is. I mean, it's I actually felt kind of weird. I was like, oh, I said this like cuss word. Like I used to never cuss, and I would say F that, like F, like I would feel so weird. And so I was even kind of hesitant. I was like, but also that's what came out. And so I'm like, okay, this is what happened. I don't know.
Just like the rest of your writing, it's straightforward, it's honest, and it's there.
Yeah.
And now, I was reading the notes on that. Now you recorded that on your phone.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I'm really into using GarageBand on my phone because it's so portable.
Yeah.
So when I would go on tour, I could sit in the back seat and I could plug my guitar in using an iRig and just play whatever I want into my phone and record it. And you can chop it up and you can repeat it and loop it and just do whatever you want with it. You can arrange songs so easily using GarageBand. So sometimes I would get inspired and I would sit down and I would write a song in one sitting, and it came out good enough to where I felt comfortable releasing it. And I would just record my vocals straight into the microphone of my phone.
Wow.
And it would come out pretty good, and add reverb and just kind of add some layers and until I think it sounds good, and try to mix it as well as I could. And then I would go to this website called Landr, LANDR. It's a mastering website. And so I would just put it through their mastering website just to get the levels right. So I can feel comfortable releasing it. That way, when people are listening to it, it's, matched up with everything and not too quiet, not too loud. I don't want that to happen. So I kind of just do that for extra measure and not having to pay someone a bunch of money to do it. It's like $6 or $10 a song.
That's not bad.
So
wow.
That's kind of my go-to if I want to do something quick.
That's really cool. I didn't know about that at all. That's really wild.
Yeah. I was so excited when I found out about that.
So now when you did but you didn't do that for the new album. That was
No. Yeah. No, I didn't.
Now, from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, that was recorded in just a week?
Yeah.
Wow.
Most of it. I did some some little things after the fact, some percussion, but yeah, it was for the most part done in a week. with my friend at his studio in Boston, his studio and house.
I think I remember reading that he had some vintage equipment.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff did you use?
He has a lot of, see, I'm kind of the worst with this, but he had a Space Echo and some vintage amps, some vintage guitar amps, like a vintage Marshall, and like, I can't remember what guitars, but I played like maybe 5 or 6 different guitars.
Oh, nice.
He kind of just knew what would be right for each song. I kind of told him what I wanted, and he's like, okay, let's try this guitar. And he had an auto harp. It was my first time playing an auto harp.
Oh, cool.
And that was really cool. So I added that to some songs. And then he had a slide guitar, and it was my first time playing slide guitar on a record.
Oh, really?
And that was really hard to figure out, but eventually I got the take. For the song I just put out, Never Alone, there's a little slide guitar part in the beginning. And so he's really good about not using computer plugins, just to make it sound really organic and natural.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Yeah.
Now, is this a different friend than the one who came up with the name for the band, Easy Love?
Yeah, this is a different friend. Yeah, okay. This is my friend Eric Penna. He recorded my first album also.
Okay. So you did have a friend who came up with the name. Is there anything behind the name Easy Love, or is it, because I've often heard that finding the name of your band is probably the hardest part of putting a band together nowadays?
Yeah, it's my friend Michael, who I actually dated after the huge breakup that I had. He was, we were dating for a little while, and he came up with a name. He's kind of notorious for thinking of names. Like, I guess he named a couple of his friends' kids, and he's just really good at coming up with stuff. And I think he just thought of it one day randomly, and I found out that nobody else had it, which was surprising to me. There's a lot of songs called Easy Love, but not a lot of bands.
Ah, okay, yeah.
So I just got lucky with it, honestly, because now I'm realizing how awesome it is that I get to make merchandise and anybody can wear this merchandise, because the name in itself is such a great message.
That's true. I didn't think about it that way.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. Was that the hardest part of this whole project, was deciding on the name? Because the whole album and the first and second album sound pretty effortless. I mean, it sounds like you're just having a great time.
Yeah, well, yeah, I kind of just, my friend Michael thought of it, and then I was like, yeah, I like it. I don't remember the process of trying to come up with a name, but my other option was going to be Deer Goo, which was just like a deer, like the animal, and then Goo, Deer Goo. And I don't really know where that came from, but I've always been into deer, I've always been into the animal, and just felt like I could relate to it. And who doesn't love goo? Yeah. And I had this image in my head that I still want to experiment with in some way, of a deer that has green blood, sort of like sparkly green blood coming out of it. I kind of had this image of that, and I still want to do something with it, because I have this image in my head of what I want it to look like. But I wanted to do some kind of huge like art piece where I have a stuffed deer, like actual real deer, with just like this glittery like green goop that's like supposedly it's blood, but it's like this beautiful kind of, that
could be an album cover. I mean, because I do see you do have that song Dependence with the deer on the cover. Mm-hmm. No goo.
Yeah.
That's an actual real live deer. That's actual real live deer on the cover of that one.
Yeah. So So my Instagram name used to be Dear Goo, and then I changed it to Easy Love.
That's probably a good thing since that you decided for that on the name.
Yeah.
I've been listening to the album a lot the last day or two, and I was like, this something sounds familiar to me in your voice, and it finally hit me today that I can hear shades of Juliana Hatfield and Tanya Donnelly in your singing. The way you sing, the phrasing, and just the sound of your voice. Especially, I think I was listening to "Forget About Love," which I absolutely love the guitar ending on it. By the way, that's beautiful.
Awesome. Thank you.
That's what hit me. Blake Babies, Juliana Hatfield, Tanya Donnelly. That's what your voice reminded me of, and it took me all day to figure that out.
Yeah, I actually am not familiar with those artists, so I'm going to look them up.
Yeah, it's all early 90s alternative stuff.
Okay, Blake Babies sounds familiar.
Yeah, Blake Babies was... they became more influential after they broke up and everybody went their separate ways for some reason. And that was, Juliana Hatfield and all. But I absolutely love Juliana Hatfield. And I think that's why it hit me how much I really enjoyed this album, because your voice has the same sound as her voice. It's not, it's reminiscent of her. And I was like, I think that's why I really enjoy this. One of the reasons why I enjoy it is great songwriting, but I love the quality of her voice. I think
that's great. I always love to hear what people think of. I always love to hear what people compare it to.
Oh, really? I know some people don't particularly care for that. That's why I'm always cautious when I say your voice sounds like this person or that person. But
yeah, I would never get offended by that, because everyone hears things a different way, and something might remind them of someone else in a different way where it wouldn't click for another person. I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I enjoy it because I never know how to describe my own music, so I need other people to tell me what it reminds them of, so I can tell someone else that I'm trying to describe what my music sounds like. I can use these, and
Well, check out Juliana Hatfield, the Juliana Hatfield 3, or Tanya Donnelly and her band Belly. Belly was a really cool band.
Belly. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds familiar.
Oh yeah. They had some really cool stuff back in the mid 90s. Belly got fairly big, I guess. Big enough.
I think I've listened to them before.
Probably. I'm guarantee if you go through, you will have heard something like, that's who Belly is.
Somebody sent me. I was asking on Instagram one time, hey, can you recommend some songs? And I think somebody recommended a Belly song.
Oh,
so
cool. That's good. Oh, yeah. So you did write a lot of this stuff while you were on tour with other bands, and I heard that you'd think of melodies and use voice memos to capture them sometimes in random bathrooms. That must have been really interesting for the person like one stall over.
Well, I just remember one instance. I mean, I've probably done that a couple of times, but I remember one instance I was recording a demo, and I remember being in the bathroom, and it was a one-person bathroom, so
okay, good.
I had it to myself, but I just remember thinking, oh, well, now I have privacy, and now I can do this, because it's kind of a little bit embarrassing to be in the car and to be singing into your phone. I don't know why, and I need to get over that, but it's just a little bit embarrassing to hash out ideas in front of other people.
Well, especially if they're your friends.
Yeah, I'm getting over it slowly, but sometimes I still get up in the morning and I have to because I live with my boyfriend. So sometimes I have to leave the room and go in, and I have a separate room. I have to go in my separate room and come and hash out the idea, get it voice memo, like just get it down. Otherwise I'm going to regret it, because I like, you wake up with an idea and should I go back to sleep or should I wake up and try to capture it? It's such a,
I completely understand that. I do some writing on the side myself, and I have to do that. Am I going to wake up and write this idea down, or do I trust myself to remember it in the morning when I wake up? And I never trust. I never remember. I never remember either. But waking up is so hard sometimes. Is this idea worth waking up for?
But that's when the ideas come. When you're half asleep.
Yeah.
Your mind is just very open, and just you're hearing. Sometimes I just hear things. It just like pops into my head, and I'm like, did I come up with this? Did I dream this? I don't know where it comes from. Well,
that's what, like you said, it's when your mind and your brain is open to that, and not it's not operating on the same level as when you're awake.
Right. It's very true.
Has anything changed about your writing or anything between the first and second albums? Were there any differences?
I feel that the second album is a little more folk rather than a little less rock. There's some rock in there, but it seems a little more folky just with the auto harp added, and then more acoustic guitar on this album.
Okay.
So it's different in that way. But I could compare it to the first album. Yeah, it's just a little more, I don't know.
I mean, it's definitely you on both albums. It's not like there's a huge stylistic difference. Yeah. I was wondering if the approach to songwriting or the lyrics or anything like that, if there's any type of progression from one to the other. I guess what I'm trying to ask is I know some of the songs on the first album were focused on that incident. Were you focusing on something else? Or was there any type of other theme on the second album?
It was similar in a way that most of the songs were about relationships that I had, romantic relationships. Okay. It's similar in that way. And I also have one song, the song called All Right, is very similar to I'll Be Fine on the first album, where it's kind of just a self-motivating song.
It's time to wake up, pick myself up, no more sulking, no excuses, it's all on me this time, and I'm always gonna have to find ways to keep myself in the game.
Just trying to reassure myself that what I'm doing is valid and that I should keep going because it makes me happy, even though sometimes it's hard.
Yeah.
So that song is similar to a song on the other album, and a lot more instrumentals on this song. So I have one instrumental on the first album, and it's just more instrumentals on this one to give the songs a break and allow some space.
I absolutely love this. Intro and Falling For You are awesome. I absolutely love this. And I just noticed they're both 1 minute 37 seconds long. That's weird.
Oh, wow. That was weird.
But those are real. They've been stuck in my head for a couple of days now. I'm really, really liking those instrumentals.
Yeah.
Because they're not really
I like them too.
They're not like you're saying, the album's kind of folky, but they're a little more guitar centric, not just chords.
Yeah, it's very. I wouldn't even know how to describe this. I don't know how to describe the style, but very much. And I'm very much into writing guitar riffs. It's very enjoyable for me.
Those two are killer. In fact, I'm probably going to use those for the intro and the outro of the
Yeah, you should. That's awesome.
Since this album was recorded in a week, and I believe I saw Limbo was recorded in 10 days, Is that normal? I mean, are you just recording that fast? Are you getting the stuff
I think
down that quickly?
It's because Eric he didn't live in LA. So for the first album, he was visiting and we would kind of have to just coordinate times to record.
Oh, okay.
So the first album we did in batches. We didn't really do the whole album in one sitting as we did with this one. But he would come visit, and then we would do some, and then he would the next time do more. And this time I just went to I went to the East Coast instead of him coming to LA. That way I could stay at because he had just built his new studio there before I recorded this new album. So I was able to stay at his place and just record in his studio for a week. So that was why I had to. Otherwise, if I recorded in LA, it would have taken a lot longer because I would have had to just schedule studio time at whatever studio I wanted to record at. And it probably would have been taken a little longer because most studios are pretty booked up. So. Oh,
yeah. Now, did you have most of the stuff worked out beforehand, or were you experimenting when you got there?
Yeah. I mean, I had to have everything. I had to have all of the parts figured out. So I had all of my demos, but I wasn't. I know for next time that I need to be more organized because I was struggling a little bit with forgetting to add things. So we would be on a song and he would say, okay, is there anything else you need to add with the lead guitar on this song? And I would be like, no, I think we're good. But I wouldn't really go back and check. Yeah. I was just really bad about staying organized in that way. So there's actually some parts that every time I listen to the album, I hear things that are missing that I wanted to actually put on the album.
Oh, wow.
So, but it came out, I really like how it came out. So I did have a case of demoitis where I was attached to the demos and I wanted it to sound exactly like the demos but what happens is like, then you come up with something new that's just as good or even better, so I'm really happy with how it came out, and I was able to let go of the demos and just,
well, it's good because when you have somebody else listening to the, to the what ends up being the final take, you've got a outside input and maybe giving you some direction that you wouldn't have thought to go too.
Yeah. And he helped me with all of the tones, and he made some suggestions for some of the bass lines because I was not prepared with the bass on this one.
Okay.
I was not, I didn't have some of those parts set in stone, and I was like, what do I do? And he's like, okay, like, here's my idea. Like, do you like it? I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll just do that. And just do it on the spot. And just, some of the guitar parts I couldn't really play because when I made my demos, I was kind of snipping and just playing little snippets of the guitar because when I hear it in my head and I have to get it down. And so I'll play a little riff and then I'll add one to that riff and I'll add one to that one. But it's not necessarily playable it's not very easy to play when I actually go back and try to play it in succession.
Oh, okay.
It's really hard. And I'm like, oh, I can't reach my finger over here. Like, how did I write this part? But the way I wrote it I wasn't playing it all the way through when I recorded the demo. So,
okay.
So that made it pretty difficult in some cases. And I was really frustrated with myself. Why didn't I practice?
Well, it's all learning for the next album, right?
Yeah.
So speaking of that, the album is coming out in late June, but touring is all up in the air at this point.
Right.
What are you going to do? You have any plans on an alternative way to support the album, get the word out so that people can pick it up?
I want to make a promotional video. I have an idea for a promotional video. I'm probably going to do some online live stream stuff, but I haven't planned anything out yet.
Yeah. I've
been taking a break from that. I haven't been playing as much lately, so I would have to. I get nervous performing, and I kind of was happy to take a break from that stress.
Oh, I'll bet.
But I'm definitely gonna I'm definitely going to plan some sort of live stream for when I release the album because I think it's necessary.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know when I'm going to be able to start planning to tour. I'm going to keep my ear out and and just kind of like feel it out and see when it feels safe. And so it probably won't be a while. It's a little sad, but I'm also a little relieved because I felt pressure. I've been playing shows, the last 15 years nonstop, and still I would get nervous and stressed out for all of my shows. If it's my band, I get a little stressed out. And
you're up
it feels
front.
heavy. I want everything to be perfect. I'm a perfectionist. I'm a Virgo, so I just want everything to be lined up and perfect, and and I don't want to look bad, and so I get stressed about that. And so I've taken a little break, and I'm really happy to take a break. But I think when the time comes around, I really do miss the feeling of being on stage and playing guitar and singing. It's really quite the experience. So I'm definitely going to be happy once I can do that again.
Oh, I bet.
I know that I'm going to be happy, and I'm going to be relieved for all of, my friends who are unable to perform, who, just so many musicians are, that's how they make their living. And so it's pretty upsetting. And I'm seeing all these venues closing now.
Yeah.
And it's really disheartening because where are we going to play when
I know, because
quarantine is over?
Yeah, because it's over doesn't mean that these places that are closed can just pop back open. Some of them are closed for good.
Yeah.
And it's like I was just talking to somebody the other day about it. If some of these, let's say like some of your favorite restaurants close and they're closed permanently, they're, a replacement restaurant is not going to pop up immediately.
Yeah.
And so it's going to take time to get back into doing things like we used to.
Yeah.
So have you been writing during this downtime?
I have a little bit. I've been doing a couple of short demo sessions. I haven't been working too hard on finishing ideas, which is a little bit hurts my heart, but I've been doing other creative things that are really fulfilling to me right now.
Oh, cool. Anything you can share with us?
Yeah, I've been drawing a lot.
Oh, cool.
And I'm sort of I'm getting an area set up to start sewing.
Oh, wow.
Because a part of me, I'm really into fashion and I'm really into recycling clothes, and I'm always saving scraps. Whenever I alter a piece of clothing, I'm always saving the extra scraps. And so I have this pile of scraps, and I have zippers, and I just have so many things that I can use to sew with. So I'm excited to just lay everything out and see what I have and just start making things and kind of see what I come up with. I also want to make some merch, some band merchandise. So I'm working on making some stamps, some custom stamps that I can put on some clothing or whatever I can find. Yeah, maybe I'll make a little deer design or something.
With some green sparkly goo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I haven't been playing music as much, and a part of me feels guilty, but also it's just not where my heart is right now, because I think I needed a little break from it. But I'm also just really enjoying preparing to release this album because I'm just so excited to share it.
Oh, so well, it's funny because I've spoken with a few people who's either their albums have just come out or they'll be coming out within the next few weeks, and they've been preparing for this for a while, and they would be on tour right now, but they can't be. And they're like, yeah, we've already written the next album. Oh,
wow.
So you guys haven't even released the newest album, and you've already got the follow-up ready to go.
Yeah, I can see that.
Crazy. I mean, what are you going to do once you tour? You're going to be sitting on on the sequel for 2 years.
I know, right?
So,
I know. That's great, though. It's good that people have that time.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of strange because now you've got all this time to do stuff. But if you've just finished a project that you can't quite release yet, I can understand how frustrating that can be for you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I want to say I was looking up and listening to your music on Bandcamp, and I gotta say your profile picture on there is awesome. Did you take that in the dairy aisle at a grocery store?
Oh, yeah. I had a really fun day. My sister is a photographer, and we had a really fun day where I did a photo shoot at a grocery store in Highland Park. And we were just kind of walking around the grocery store and looking for spots to shoot. And yeah, that was really fun.
And did you make the jacket with the fringes?
Yeah. I had this denim jacket, and I had this vision of having fringe go all the way around it, because just like the classic fringe suede jacket. I've always loved those, and I was inspired by that, and I thought it would be cool to do a rainbow version. And so I sewed a little strip with the colorful strips just along the edge, and I sewed it by hand, and it was pretty simple to make, and I feel like I should maybe make more, but I keep slipping my mind.
Well, now you've got time.
It's such a fun piece. Yeah, I know. Now I want to get started.
That jacket ended up being on the cover of your first album.
Yeah. So my sister shot that photo. We were just around the corner from where we lived on this hill and found this cool like box car sort of deal that was in someone's yard, and we asked them if we could get on top of it. They're like, yeah, that's fine. And then we shot some photos and had a really cool view. And I usually feel pretty awkward taking photos, but I felt really confident during this photo shoot, and that was exciting, because most of the time when I'm being forced to pose, I feel very awkward and uncomfortable.
Oh yeah.
So you got to be I have to be in the right mood for that.
And you have to trust the photographer too. And when it's your sister, it helps.
Yeah. And she's really good. She knows how to direct. So
that's important.
Yeah. Her thing is Visions of Chelsea Rose. So on Instagram, I would look it up, because she does a lot of different types of photography. She's just starting out and just getting her name out, but she's been doing it for a while, and she's really good at art direction. And she's awesome. Wow. I've learned a lot from her.
That's great. How can people find the album, and how can they follow you on social media? To find out what's going on?
So I am at on Instagram. I'm more active on Instagram than I am on Facebook, but I do have a Facebook as well, but it's Easy Love Music on both platforms. Pretty simple. So at Easy Love Music on Instagram and Facebook, Bandcamp at Easy Love Music as well. EasyLoveMusic.com. It's pretty much the same in all platforms. I don't have a Twitter.
Oh, good. The worst platform.
I just can't handle too many. I just can't handle having too many platforms.
Well, Twitter's
I never go on Facebook, so yeah.
See, you don't.
I could get sucked in there, and it probably wouldn't be a good thing.
No, it's the most negative social media platform.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. Worse than Facebook?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just terrible.
Yeah.
So the album's coming out late June. It's called Wander Feeler.
Yeah, and, that is correct.
And how can people pick that up? Is it going to be through Bandcamp, or is it going to be through?
It should be available on all platforms. It'll be on Spotify, Apple Music, probably Amazon. I would say the easiest to listen to would be Bandcamp or Spotify. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
And I would look up Wonder Feeler, Easy Love on Spotify. Easy Love's pretty hard to find on there if you just type in the band name. So,
well,
yeah.
I've been enjoying it. It's got it definitely sounds like a California album. And it was so nice to listen to. And I especially love those instrumentals. I mean, those are really awesome riffs.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm so glad you like it.
I love it. Thank you so much. It was a blast.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
My pleasure.
Yeah.